This is regarding the event summary 1. And in event summary 1, I've been attending a CMC event on 4th of October from 4:30 to 5:30 downtown campus, and the presentation was regarding the analytics, career in analytics by Dan Lohman, and he's a senior vice president and director in survey labs at Grenzi Bag, Glare and Associates, GG plus A. So it was a really very interesting presentation given by Dan, and I would like to explain what is expected out of me in this event summary 1. So there are 3 questions I'll be answering. The first question is, what did you do or learn at the event? So I've learned a little bit about how analytics work as a or in a non-profit organization. So since Dan is a part of non-profit organization, and they provide services to different other organizations like different healthcare organizations, educations, different other organizations. And it's really interesting the way he gave the presentation. He has explained some of the basics of major gifts fundraising. So he have explained that using a pie chart, the distribution of in 2016, the US nonprofit organization has raised $390 billion, and it came from individuals with different portions of the fund, from foundations, from where it came and from which corporations it came. So he had a very good representation of that. Coming down to the basics of fundraising was he gave a little bit more about the few percentage of population gives 60 plus percent of the money to the environment, and how do you find them. So there are a lot of analytical methods he had shown, and how they are fundraising and how it is helping people in that way. So what are the models especially that has been created that would yield with a good models with a good size and non-linear effects. So how those will help in raising the money in giving a majority of university $1 million is some of the approximate of 99.99 of the time, but it's still quite competitive, and how those type of models helps in the fundraising activity. So it was really good. And he also said that how fundraising operates on a portfolio based model. So sales model in terms of how many salesperson are assigned, like it's from 50 to 200 prospects, and is suspected to contact and cultivate and ultimately ask for the gifts. So he really gave a very good overview of how the models can be used and what amount of money people get out of it, and how we can analyze it practically. So these type of things are really very interesting that he has presented in the class. Apart from that, he had showed lot of like case studies that what was used, and his experience as a non-profit part of non-profit organization, how those case studies has been solved, in which way it has been solved, what the calculations involved, and how they analyzed the problem and how they solved it analytically. That is what he had shown, and it was really interesting. So something very interesting that he had shown is the background and scoring methodology in the presentation, where he has told about the grateful patents are important sources of charitable given for the research hospitals, even though very few patents will even go on to make a charitable gift to the hospital. So, due to some legal and ethical consideration, hospital fundraising can only know a little bit about the patient. So, basic demographics, department of service, etc. Based on the limited independent variables, would we predict a better target market? to reduce the resources spent on hundreds or thousands of patients that are very unlikely to give. So they are analyzing what is that they want to target, whether they want to target the whether they are targeting the actual market segment that they should, and they are trying to find out the the methodology, scoring methodology. So again, GG plus A observed the agreement historical giving to the medical center among the following patients donor demographic segments. They segmented according to the donor age, according to their the zip code, according to the patient types, like excluding the charity care, etc. So it's based on relative importance of the three factors described above, and the model was creating to predict the future giving behavior to the medical center, give designs, etc. So it is really very interesting. And the scoring system applies this model to current donors and non-donor patents prospect to add in the prioritization of patents from for prospect potential. So it is really very interesting how they are using and in what way they are using it for the scoring methodology. Also, he has shown various demographics and various geographical various other segmentations by which we can see the market and approach as per the problem. So he has also showed that we have also learned about how engagement can pick up more effectively than a particular emotion. So that's how he represented in a graphical format, and maybe engagement was quite slow, but you never know when it crosses the line. So engagement performed much better and more effectively than emotions did. So that is what was also discussed, was really helpful, and we get to know how analytics was used in the non-profit, because we didn't had an experience about it. And he also told about about different analytical frameworks that has been used in a non-profit organization. That really helped me, and I learned a lot from that. So that's all about my first question. I'll go to the second question. How does attending the event help with your professional development? So this event has really helped me to know how analytics work in a non-profit organization. What are the tools, what are the approach they using, he discussed about different case studies. So what was the approach, how to solve those type of case studies if I am a part of non-profit organization, having connection with different other organizations. So that is really interesting. Also, he has displayed a few analytics jobs that they are looking for in non-profit, and so in those type of analytics jobs, he has mentioned, is depending on the organization and on your experience. Positions ranging from entry level to senior level with different pay scales are there. So non-profits generally they pay less than the profits do, and the benefits are usually much better. Smaller non-profit agencies pay much less than the big universities and hospitals. So he has set the expectations, and he has told what are the opportunities, what are the exposures are there in non-profit. So in non-profit, unlike likely to be one of is the only person, that there won't be anybody to help maybe. So you're the only person who maybe you should have a very small handful of people with a genuine analytics knowledge or science knowledge. As such, we'll get to know more projects than from start to finish, and expose ourselves to such a situation that we'll be exposed to the big analytics machine. And we will also be able to be much more likely to expose to leadership, because you're the one who is handling, you're the one who is carrying yourself to a level where nobody to help, but it is forcefully pushing you to learn much better experience and giving you a leverage to lead, right? So this is really very important thing that I think that will help in a professional development from this event. So And of course, he also mentioned that you will get a better sleep at night if you're in a non-profit, because you work to matches people with resources programs that you might think make the world better. There is not much tension as do others have, but that's all. And he also mentioned where we can apply for the analytics, jobs that are there in that GG plus A organization. So he also mentioned about the analytic skills that we should develop in order to get the jobs, the math and the technology are prerequisite, but that's true anywhere, and the ability to translate into both directions is critical. You need to able to get the root of the business problems. You should know what is the problem about. Unless you know that and write down the data that you can't gather and you can't sample to interpret the data. So how much can we raise if we spend more here? How likely we are, whatever. So it's like if we spend more on something, if we spend more on promotion, how is it we'll manage our business? If we forecast or sale or sell more units, how can we cope up with the money? So we have to think each and every business aspects are interrelated. So if we are doing something, we have to keep in considerations what are the other factors, how we can manage, how we can keep a balance in our business. So fundraising tends to think that they are special and tends to dislike corporate or sales analogies, even though they are sound and applicable. You need to be demonstrated that you'll understand the tricks of philanthropy. Whether you believe it or not, you want to convince the hiring manager that you care about the mission of the organization. Sell yourself high. So that is very important. You have to sell yourself high. You have to have a talk about the strengths, about the decision making, about the effectiveness, about the forecasting. Only push your technical processes if you need to prove it. For most of the people, your degree will be the only credential you need. So apart from that, you should know the other expertise so that you become a unique key and you prove yourself uniquely in the job market. So that's so important. What I really learned from the event is really helpful. So I'll go to my third question. Who did you meet either before, during, or after the event? Did you collect any business cards? So I have met with Dan Lohman because he was the one. He's the vice president of in analytics in Grenzy Back, Glare and Associates, and he's really very good person, and he's really helpful. He's great connection altogether, and he was presenting the whole thing out. So he's the one whom I've met, and of course Shehzad was there in the room, CMC event coordinator. So I have. Met with him, and since he was in a very rush, we didn't got an opportunity to take the business card, but surely I will once, because I have already connected with him using LinkedIn. So if I get an opportunity, I will surely look for it look forward to meet with him and take my career ahead. Thank you so much.